never let it grow. I'm at war with it, but it's hard to let it go.
This is a weapon review.
Welcome to the 4th episode of This is a Weapon Review. Today our special guest is the Nergal PR4, a legendary pulse rifle from Omolon. This is one of the 2 pulse rifles available in the Destiny 2 beta, the other being the Nightshade. As of presently, you can only get this weapon from Gunsmith Legendary Engrams. Like other pulse rifles in the 450 RPM archetype, the Nergal PR4 has lightweight frame as its intrinsic perk, which gives you a free +1 to your mobility stat. This weapon sights consists of Torch HS3, a red dot sight with a medium zoom and offers a minimal range increase, and Flash HS5, another medium zoom sight that highlights targets and grants a small increase to handling. Honestly, neither one of these sights are anything over the top. I personally prefer the look of Flash HS5, but its biggest downside is that it robs some points from the range stat and gives them to the handling stat. I can't recommend this sight because this weapon's base range isn't the best and its handling speed is already pretty high, and for a weapon like this, you'll definitely want to prioritize range over handling. Torch HS3 is the better option of the 2 solely due to the fact that you can retain some points in the range stat. For perks, we have ricochet rounds, and as expected, this perk causes rounds fired from this weapon to ricochet off of hard surfaces and offers a range increase, and steady rounds, which offers a small boost of stability at the expense of cutting the range stat. Honestly, neither one of these perks are anything impressive. Ricochet rounds is a gimmick of a perk at best, and the likelihood of you actually killing an enemy by deflecting rounds off a wall is slim to none. You have a better chance of being struck by lightning and hitting the lottery at the same time. The steady rounds increases your stability by a tad, but removes a decent chunk of points from your range stat, and you would definitely notice how much range you lost if you equip both steady rounds and Flash HS5. I suppose you could get away with using steady rounds if those extra points of stability are worth losing some range, but every single one of your enemy engagements would have to be close and mid-range. Anything beyond that and you're literally signing your own death warrant if you find yourself on the receiving end of something that actually specializes in long range, such as a scout rifle. The final perk is full auto, which, you guessed it, gives this weapon fully automatic fire. I'm a huge fan of this perk, and the majority of the reason why is because this is the only legendary pulse rifle in all of Destiny 2 that features this perk. Fully automatic fire removes the necessity of having to tap the trigger to shoot, which can be incredibly consoling to lazier players like myself. In PvE, this weapon doesn't do anything special at all. It's a fairly reliable weapon as a whole, but its perk layout is more or less optimized for the Crucible. Being in the energy weapon slot, the Nergal PR4 has to fight for a spot in your PvE loadout with the likes of the Sunshot, Mononon SR4, Tone Patrol, the list goes on. Cut and dry, there are much better energy weapons that are actually better suited for PvE, and the Nergal PR4 is not one of them. The Nergal PR4 and weapons in its respective archetype have a pretty decent performance in the Crucible, but in my experience it's been very difficult to compete with the meta. Popular weapons such as the Mighty Multi-Tool and Uriel's Gift have this weapon completely outmatched when it comes to range, so you're pretty much forced not to engage anything beyond mid-range. Its fastest time to kill is 1.20 seconds and can put a Guardian down in 8 crits and 2 body shots. As much as I love this weapon, I can't fully recommend it or any weapon in this archetype for PvP because pulse rifles as a whole aren't really in the best spot in the Crucible right now. If I had to recommend an alternative, I'd suggest going with the Vanguard Pulse Rifle Nightshade since it has kill clip and can get its time to kill down to 0.87 seconds. I would be less reluctant to recommend this weapon for PvP utilization if it could crit for 22 damage like it could in Destiny 2's beta, so hopefully a buff for this archetype is right around the corner. However, the combination of the Nergal PR4's lightweight frame intrinsic perk and full auto has proven to be incredibly reliable in the Crucible. Since lightweight frame grants you an extra point in the mobility stat, you'll receive a slight increase in strafe speed, while fully auto removes the necessity of having to tap the trigger to shoot. You'll have a much easier time with your 1v1 gunfights. This weapon has some pretty good numbers in the stability and handling stats, giving it a very reliable and snappy feel overall. Its recoil is fairly easy to control, but you can make its recoil direction almost entirely vertical with only one energy counterbalance mod. To conclude this review, the Nergal PR4 will always have a special spot in my loadout since it was my favorite weapon in Destiny 2's beta. I was dedicated to get this weapon when the full game of Destiny 2 was released, but it decided not to drop for me until a full month after Destiny 2 had been out. All jokes aside, I hope that this archetype of pulse rifles receives a small buff so we can see more people are fond of using pulse rifles in the Crucible. But that does it for this one, everybody. I am 1LHD, and this has been a weapon review. Thank you for tuning in. Keep it smooth.